Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back to Fat Cat Collection. And today I want to share another watch from my collection. And this is a watch that was kind of a game changer for me when I was in the market or started to get more involved in collecting watches. Now, when I first saw this watch, and let me just go ahead and show you what it is. This is a Diesel. They call this watch the Mr. Daddy. And Diesel has kind of continued on with this design on most of their watches. So they do make different models, but I'm going to tell you guys about this watch and you know, kind of what I experienced when I got this watch and kind of how this kind of changed the way that I collected. Now, I originally started really, I would say, collecting watches or starting to have a lot of watches in my collection right around 2004. Nothing like I have now. My style was really like more of the hip-hop style. Back in that time, you'll hear me mention Jacob & Company, and they're still around making exquisite, beautiful handmade timepieces. That really is it's really, I mean, they're untouchable as far as what they do with these complications, these movements. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that can touch them. I mean, I encourage you guys to check out some of their models. Extremely expensive, really mainly for the rich, but very beautiful if you're interested in movements and stuff like that. Just exquisite. So, back then, around that time, I was, you know, wearing some of the hip-hop watches. Some were very inexpensive, maybe 20, 30 bucks. Other ones were like the Jacob & Company replica watches I was wearing back in that time frame. And again, guys, you know, this is before I really discovered Invicta, and I don't even really know what Invicta was putting out there back in the day. It seems like one day I just discovered Invicta, and then my taste just kind of changed and my style changed, but I still appreciate watches like this. And this is what makes me, you know, when I first saw this watch, it was in, I believe it was Macy's or the Bon Marché, and I remember walking by the case and seeing the size of this. Now, right around then, I had seen a brand called Nixon, and I don't have a Nixon watch, but I've always wanted to get one just to have in my collection. And there was, I think it's the 5130 Nixon, 51 millimeter, big chunky watch. I remember seeing some guys at the bar wearing that watch and saying, dude, that thing is just big, man. And remember, 47 millimeter is what the Jacob & Company watches were, and that was huge in its day. When you saw a 47 millimeter watch, you were like, what is that? I mean, it was just, everybody was wearing them, all the movie stars, super popular, and I think they were kind of a game changer on, you know, large watches. Now, there was always like the diver watches out there, the Russian divers that weren't really my style, and even to this day, not really my style now. Just big face, very, very simple in design, and, you know, I remember, again, I'm sure those watches were out there, but never really researched it. I remember seeing like the U-boat watches, which were, you know, big as well. They were a little bit after, I think, 2006, but very, very expensive. Still a cool watch, though, nonetheless, but I wanted something big, and I remember seeing those Nixons, and they were going for like, you know, $400 or $500 in stores like Buckle and the mall. Lots of markup on those watches. And, you know, I remember going into Macy's and seeing this. And even at Macy's, the MSRP on these things was close to about, I think, $380, $400. And I was like, at that time, no way would I spend that on a watch. No way. And what's weird is I made pretty good money then, you know, I mean, at that time. And I just would never rationalize spending that on a watch. And I remember as time went on, I started to see these popping up on eBay. So I ended up getting this for $250. And this was my go-to watch because I remember wearing this. And this is a huge watch, guys. This was really one of the biggest watches made in that time. And as far as case size, this thing is really all face on this. You were looking at, not including the crown and function pushers, all the way to the edge of the bezel, 57 millimeter. So that's a really big timepiece. That thing's getting, you know, close to the size of your Sea Hunters and your Grand Octanes. This watch, when I got it, I absolutely knew the first time I put it on, I wore this. I mean, people were just like, what is that? That thing is huge. I remember seeing one guy wearing it at my job in the titanium, and I was like, man, that is just a sick watch. And, you know, even this watch is still very, very popular because they still make this same watch today. You can still pick this up, and I believe I got this watch, I'm thinking right around, I'm not sure if I mentioned the wrong date, if I mentioned the date yet, but I think I got this watch right around 2000 and maybe 8 or 9, right around then. And again, this has got, it's pretty cool. You have multiple time zones. There's a lot going on with this here. You have a digital, you have a chronograph time zone, or I believe it's chronograph, true chronograph time zone. You have a secondary time zone. So you have 4 time zones in this watch. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, I've never opened up the back on this watch. The batteries are completely dead in this watch, and I don't wear this one anymore. After discovering Invicta, and you can still buy this for $245 on Amazon. I will put links in the description if you're interested in it. And yet, not a bad quality watch, but again, guys, I can't express to you enough that this is a cool looking watch. And don't get me wrong, I'm not downplaying this. This was my go-to. Anytime I wanted to wear something that was big and over the top, this is my go-to. Nobody made a watch this big when I got this, okay? And, you know, as time went on, I discovered the Invicta. For $250, you can get a Grand Octane nowadays. And let me tell you, when you feel the difference on these side by side, the weight, the build, I mean, it feels like 2 different watches. I mean, and that's what's very difficult for me when I hear people say that, oh, Invicta's a crappy watch, terrible quality. It's, you know, again, everybody's, I guess, likes and tastes are different. This may not be a watch that you may like. It may not be a watch a lot of people would wear. I'm sure the same guys who are into the Rolexes will say that this is a piece of dog shit as well. And you know what? That's fine. They can believe what they want. You know, but for me, I like watches that, again, tell a story, that are unique. And I can tell you right now, you put this on your wrist, you're going to get more compliments wearing this and more people questioning you than ever wearing, like, I mean, not this on it, but a Rolex or a Seiko, unless people really appreciate the brand. And that's what it really comes down to. We all like different things, and just because I may not be a Rolex or an Omega fan, I just think that they're, for what, again, it comes down to what you're paying. If one was, you know, I've always said Rolex is a $1,000 watch at best when they're charged $8,000 for it. That's just my opinion. A lot of people share that opinion, a lot of people disagree. And, you know, this is more my style. I like things like this that are just different and unique, and I love Diesel because they really make a lot of over-the-top, big, gaudy, I would say, timepieces. But I mean, the thing is that although this watch is made of, let's see what they say here. They say it's got a 7-link stainless steel bracelet, 33 feet of water resistance, which is not much, which will, they say, withstand splashes and rain, but not immersion, so good to know. And there's not, you know, just not a lot of information on it because there's not really much that really goes into this watch. It says it is powered by one LR44 battery, which is interesting. I would have thought there were multiple batteries in this, so if I ever want to replace the battery, good to know. And that's really about it. You know, the Diesel, I think, does their own kind of movements. I don't know if they outsource. I'm not really sure about, you know, what they use in this watch or what it even looks like when you crack it open. I'm curious to see what it does look like. I know when I opened up some of like the 5 time zone watches from back in the day, you have 5 individual very cheap, you know, $3 quartz movements. They still were functional, but again, more of a costume jewelry. This one here is definitely better quality, something like that, but when you compare this to a Grand Octane or a Sea Hunter 3, if you're looking for something big, there really is no comparison. I mean, when you feel the difference between the two of them, just based on weight and just how the band feels, how everything feels on the watch, you're really, it's amazing Invicta can give you a watch like that for the money. And Aragon too, they're right up there as well. So, but it's still an awesome watch. I remember wearing this out the bar for the first time, and I just instantly noticed like those same guys and same people just being like, that is a big watch. I mean, pretty awesome. So this is what it looks like on the wrist. That's my story on the Diesel watch. A lot of you guys have contacted me over the years and said, oh, you know, what do you think about Diesel? And I'll go back to, you know, what I always say when people comment on Diesel watches. You know, if you like it, get it. You're not going to be disappointed, but I will say that when you put on an Invicta Grand Octane for the same price, there is a huge difference there. Huge difference. You're going to instantly feel that quality. So again, if you guys, I mean, again, nothing wrong with the Diesel watch. It is unique. It is different. They make a lot of different color combinations on this watch. They're obviously still making them because they are popular. But guys, if you like Diesel and you haven't checked out an Invicta and you like this watch, go ahead and pick up a Grand Octane. Links are in the description, and just pick it up. You don't like it, you can always send it back, but I'm telling you guys, you'll be blown away at the difference. But alright, so anyway, without further ado, this is what it looks like on a 7-inch wrist. Again, 65 millimeters all the way out to, that would be your crown and function pushers on this here. They're very, very small, and you can see this watch is mainly all face. And that's probably why it's kind of lightweight. You know, when you compare it to Invicta, the band's a lot larger. And again, that doesn't mean that the watch is bad quality. It's all stainless steel. I've had this a very, very long time. And, you know, other than the battery, I mean, the watch still works, still tells accurate time. And I think it's still a cool watch. I'm sure at some point in the future, I might pick up another diesel watch, depending on the color combination, but it's all face on this watch. When you look at like your Invicta, your Grand Octane, your Sea Hunter, the watches of this size, you have a lot more case and less face. This has just got a huge face and very, very thin bezel. So very unique, very different watch. And again, this was my go-to back in the day. I mean, I wore this all the time. And there wasn't, I mean, you know, go big or go home. I mean, it makes the Nixon watches, I mean, look teeny. If that's what you're going for, and that is what I was going for. So definitely check it out, guys. They have a lot of different models, and I just wanted to share my story of the diesel, what do they call it, Mr. Daddy. They have Mr. Daddy 2.0 and Granddaddies, all these different watches. Pretty cool looking. I definitely encourage you to check them out if you haven't. And if you haven't gotten, and if you have a diesel again, and you haven't checked out the Invicta, I'm telling you, if you like that big style watch, it's a game changer. You'll never go back. I mean, I'm 99% certain that if you are a diesel fan and you have not tried Invicta and you jump on over and you check out Invicta and what they're giving you for the money, you'll be blown away. You'll probably never buy a diesel watch, which I don't want to, you know, I don't want to knock this watch, but it's just, I don't know how Invicta does it. I really don't. So, all right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening to my story about the diesel watch. Again, a very special watch in my collection because this was my go-to for years. This was the watch I wore 99% of the time until I got my very first Venom watch. And after that, that's when this Invicta addiction started. And I mean, again, I have different watches and I wear a lot of different watches, but it just really is astounding what they give you for your money. So, all right, guys, thanks again for watching. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell to be notified anytime I upload a new video. If you want to check out more different styles of the Invicta or the diesel watches, two links, or actually there's a lot of links in the description. Definitely check them out. And remember, anytime you do make a purchase, if you come back, you watch the video and you say, hey, you know, I kind of feel like I might want to make that purchase, refresh the link. Anytime you use my links to make a purchase, they are affiliate links, and I do get a small commission based on the sale. It doesn't matter what you buy. I appreciate you just taking the time to do that. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day. Take care.